Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. In our last class, as you can see here, we talked about the types of intention. You need a specific intention for certain types of fasts, and you don't need a specific intention for other types of fasts. Suffice it to say that majority of the time, we are going to be doing the fasts of Ramadan, and so those fasts require no specific intention. So the fasts that we absolutely need to do, we're pretty good on that part. We don't need to overthink it. But now let's go into a different thing. What is intention? Here, I've got something in English, something in Arabic, and something in Urdu. The reason I did this is so that everybody who speaks any kind of language can know. So there's a lot of confusion about this. Some people say that your intention needs to be verbal, but intention, like it says here, it's an action of the heart. It doesn't have any verbal requirement. Now, this first Arabic text, this is from a very famous and a very um, elemental, I would say, book of jurisprudence called Al-Mabsūṭ. That is by Imam Shamsuddin As-Sarkhasi. So he says, وَالتَّكَلُّمْ بِالنِّيَّةِ لَا مُعْتَبَرَ بِهِ فَإِنْ فَعَلَهُ لِيَجْتَمِعَ عَزِيمَةَ قَلْبِهِ فَهُوَ حَسَنٌ. He said, speaking the intention verbally is nothing that's considerable. But if he does so to combine or to make firm the firm intention of his heart, then it's actually a good thing to do. Yeah, if you do it just to make your heart firm, then that's fine. And this other text here is a very famous book of jurisprudence called, in Urdu called Bahār-e-Sharīʿat. It's a very recently composed book from the past 100 years that compiles the uh, final positions of uh, of of this particular Hanafi madhab. And so it's become a go-to source for many people who want to find like a final determination on any kind of issue. So it says ज़बान से कह लेना मुस्तहब है और उसमें कुछ अरबी की तखसीस नहीं, फारसी वगैरह भी हो सकती है. So he says that just to speak your intention with your tongue, this is mustahab. This is good. This is encouraged, which means to say that it's not required. It's just something that's good. And at the same time, you don't have to say some kind of intention in Arabic. You can do it in Farsi or any other language. So, we're speaking English. We can we can do it in English. We can make our intention, we can do a verbal intention in English as well. There's no requirement to keep it in a particular language if you want to say it from the heart. Oh, I'm sorry, if you want to say it from the tongue. So now we're going to get into something called tabyit. Tabyit is an action where, you have to fast, let's say, the next day. So what do? You can make your intention to fast the night before. So basically, before you go to sleep, you can say, hey, I intend to fast tomorrow. You can make that intention in your heart. That is called tabyit. Now, the thing to understand is in certain fasts, tabyit is required, and in other fasts, it's not. But that begs the question, well, we're supposed to be doing the act of fasting in daylight hours. So if I wake up in the day and I didn't make my intention the night before, is it still going to count? Well, the answer is, depending on what fast it is, sure. But if you don't make an intention the night before, and it's one of those fasts where you don't need to, there is a time by which you need to do it. So let's look at that. So like we said, tabyit is making an intention the night before. So there are fasts that require tabyit. So everything that requires a specific intention requires Tabyīt. So let's go back and see what requires a specific intention. Makeups of Ramadan, makeups of nafil fasts that were broken, fasts of kafara, and fasts of unspecified vows. These are the fasts that you need to make your intention not only specific, but you need to make it the night before, basically before you go to sleep. And fasts requiring no tabyit, everything not requiring a specific action. So that means your nafil fasts, your fasts of Ramadan, and your fasts of specified vows. You don't have to make those intentions the night before. Reason being that for Ramadan, it's a fard on you anyways. So there's a general idea of, yeah, I have to fast the next day. For specified intentions, you have specified the day, so it's not really required to make it the night before because you technically already made it when you made your vow. And for nafil fasts, it's a purely optional thing. So if you want to wake up the next morning and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to fast, then you can do that. But what happens when you wake up and it's daytime and you're like, hey, I'm going to fast? Can you do that? Sure, but there's a time limit. And that time limit, we refer to it as the time where we have to stop. And that is a particular time of day. In Arabic, we call it Ḍahwatul Kubrā. So what's Ḍahwatul Kubrā? Basically, let's say the day starts here at Fajr time and the day ends here at Maghrib time. That's when the sun completely sets. So here's where the sun, here's where it's dawn, okay, Fajr, and here's where it's dusk, Maghrib. So the sun is just about to rise, that's Fajr. The sun has already set, that's Maghrib. So you take that time, he says you take Fajr through Maghrib, and then you divide that whole time by 2. So if you divide by 2, this is that halfway point. That's called Dahwatul Kubra. So obviously, we have a lunar calendar and it's a straight, pure lunar calendar. And we're not making calculative adjustments to it. We're not doing anything like that. We're purely going off of sighting the moon. So when we go off of sighting the moon, uh, that year is going to be around 360 days. Well, the solar year is about 365. And the solar calendar became popular with like many, many civilizations because it stuck to the seasons. So January is always going to be in winter. July is always going to be in summer. You have winter solstice in winter. You have summer solstice in summer. That's not the case for the lunar year, which means that Ramadan throughout your life, it's going to be in different times of the year. Um, it could be a different when whoever's listening to this, it could be a time of the year where it's in like July. So the fasts are going to be like super duper long, depending on where you live in the world. Um, it could be that it's you're listening to it when Ramadan is in wintertime. So depending on where you live, the fasts can be super, super short. So whatever it is, you see what time this dawn is starting and what time uh ghurub shams what time the sun completely sets. You take that and find the halfway point. So you have to make your intention for something that you didn't make it the night before, you have to make it before this time. You got to make it before this halfway point of daylight hours. And that is a great place to stop, and we'll go through some of the other things that are related to fasting by way of the month of Ramadan in our next meeting. Insha'Allah, tabaraka wa ta'ala.